Since hollow metal woods emerged in the 1980s and then oversized titanium drivers became widespread in the 90s, through to modern models where you can easily change the loft and weighting of the club yourself, driver tech has been a consistent march forward for the last number of decades. And to such an extent that today it is a legitimate question where in the driver's face it is best to hit a golf ball in order to hit the ball as far as you can. So in this video we cover whether golfers can still simply assume dead centre is the absolute ideal, if it's better to miss high or low in the driver face, and finally whether a better strike or more swing speed is preferable when it comes to maximising distance. Welcome back to the Golfing Focus channel, everybody, and for those golfers who can remember the days of persimmon drivers, they will be well aware of how tough it was to hit long drives consistently well, given the size of the head and sweet spot. But fast forward a few decades, and advances in every aspect of driver design, from the basic size to the materials used, to the huge amounts of technology hidden from plain sight within the modern club head, means we now have clubs that help golfers of all standards maximise their distance off the tee. And all this tech means that when it comes to where it is best to hit the golf ball in modern drivers, it turns out a slightly off-centre strike, just up from the centre of the face and towards the toe, will deliver you the maximum amount of distance. Further, the reason for this relates to the key when it comes to distance in golf, namely speed. And in short, why speed matters when it comes to where you should hit the ball in the driver face is specifically related to club head, or swing speed as it is also called. Because to get more distance off the tee, one of the best things you can do is to increase your club head speed. According to TrackMan, one of the leading launch monitors in golf launch monitor technology, adding 1 mile an hour of driver club head speed can increase your distance by up to 3 yards. Driver club head speeds can get pretty fast though, especially when in the hands of top players. And because the club is rotating and closing so quickly as it gets to the ball, the toe of the club is estimated to be travelling around 14% faster than the heel of the club. And it is for this reason, therefore, that in order to maximise distance, the best place for you to strike the ball on your driver club face is not quite in the centre. But, as anyone who has even played just one round of golf is well aware, it is a very hard game. And for the vast majority of amateurs, it is not an easy thing to hit the ball off the sweet spot of the driver on a consistent basis. As the legendary Ben Hogan once said, golf is a game of misses, and he who misses best wins. So, given that and how hard it actually is to strike a driver perfectly, let's look next at where it is best for you to miss hit on your driver club face. Poorly struck drives are far more common than well-struck ones in a lot of amateur rounds, and as such it makes sense for us to consider where in the driver club face you're better to miss hit than another. And as a general rule, golfers should hit high up rather than low in the face of a modern golf driver. According to industry testing leader Golf Laboratories, a 95 mile an hour swing speed golfer will lose only 5.5 yards of carry distance when a drive is struck in the high toe compared to a centre hit, but will lose 19 yards with a low heel strike. Now this of course is not to say that you should not aim to strike your drives out of the sweet spot just slightly above the centre and towards the toe, or the exact centre itself, but golf club manufacturers are well aware that regular players frequently miss these spots and most often do so with a high toe or low heel strike. As a consequence of this, modern driver designs incorporate a curvature in the driver's face from top to bottom with the purpose of creating a vertical gear effect in very common off-centre driver hits, high or low, on the driver's face. And this gear effect is the reason why poorly struck drives no longer lose as much distance as they would have once done with older drivers. Because in more simple terms, what gear effect aims to do is impart draw spin on a high toe strike and slice spin on a low heel strike as the ball hits the driver's face in an effort to bend the ball back towards the intended direction. It is not a perfect science, of course, and no driver technology in the world is going to turn a poorly struck drive into a good one, but the purpose of gear effect is to try and minimise the damage as far as possible. Renowned PGA and Golf Digest instructor and club fitter James Letts estimates, based on his analysis of driver strikes, that you'll see an 8 to 9 mile an hour decrease in ball speed with a low struck drive on the heel or toe, compared to a 2 to 4 mile an hour reduction when the ball hits the driver face anywhere else other than the centre. So from a distance perspective, the key point to remember is that hitting the ball low in the driver's face and or off the heel will significantly reduce how far you hit the ball. And if you're going to miss it, therefore, it is better to miss high in the face rather than low if you want to try and keep up with your best struck drives. We've all been there. You step on the tee and feel this is the hole that you need to crank it up and send the ball that extra few yards than you normally do, because it is on this occasion that you'll know it will make all the difference. So, bearing in mind what we've already covered, if the next hole is the one you need to send your driver out that bit further than normal, are you better to focus on hitting the sweet spot, or instead loosening off those muscles in an effort to generate that extra bit of swing speed that potentially can mean more distance? Once again, we can turn to an experiment run by golf technology expert Gene Parenti at Golf Laboratories with Golf.com, where he analysed what happens when a player hits driver in the centre of the face compared to hitting both centre and multiple off-centre strikes with swing speeds increased by 5 and 10 miles an hour. Starting with the most straightforward results, and as we would expect, Parenti found that if you strike the ball in the centre of the club face, you will gain 11 yards of distance by increasing your swing speed from 95 miles an hour, roughly the driver's speed of the average male amateur, to 100 miles an hour. And if you reach 105 miles an hour, again with the centre strike, you will again hit the ball further, but this time an additional 5 miles an hour of swing speed to 105 miles an hour will only gain you an additional 2 yards, or 13 yards in total, compared to a 95 mile an hour swing. Further, for mishits, he discovered that you'll still hit the ball further with 5 miles an hour or more increased driver swing speed if you strike the ball up to 1 inch off centre or in the upper third of the club face. Strike the ball in the lower third of the club face or anywhere past 1 inch off centre, however, and you'll undoubtedly lose distance by up to as much as 8 yards, even if you get that swing speed number up to 105 miles an hour from 95. So as we can see, increased driver swing speed is a surefire way to potentially get more distance off the tee, but there are clearly trade-offs to be aware of if you decide to focus on speed rather than strike when you want to hit that big drive. Firstly, if you're an average golfer, you'll need to weigh up whether going for a lot of extra speed is actually worth it, especially when you consider only 2 extra yards of distance is an offer when you go from 100 to 105 miles an hour. And secondly, these tests were based on a robot striking the ball with a club face which was absolutely square at impact. So if you increase your speed in line with this experiment, but hit the ball with a face which was not square, you may find the ball going a bit further, but a bit further in the wrong direction. The lesson to take, therefore, is that if you're going to focus on generating some extra swing speed to get a bit more distance off the tee, make sure your mishits are high in the face rather than low, but bear in mind you'll likely pay the price when it comes to accuracy. So that's it for our look at the sweet spot on a driver. As ever, and most importantly, we hope you're enjoying your golf, and if you like this video, you know what to do with those boxes on the screen, and we'll see you over in another video shortly.